back to Professor in Progress. My name's Dane, and I've been in the field now about 3 weeks, although it'll probably be another couple of weeks at least before I can upload this. I would say thus far my project has had adequate success. I'd have to change a few things around here and there, but overall I think I'm happy with how it's going. I haven't recorded too much vlog stuff yet, so I'm just going to be sitting and talking for most of this with some stuff overlaid. I did record a little the first day I got here though, just to show you where I'm staying for now. Okay, I've just arrived. This is where I'm staying on my first night here, in a classroom, in a tent, which is not the most comfortable accommodations, but it'll do. The reason I'm staying here is because basically nobody in the village has really stepped forward to take me in yet, which is fair enough, I think. I kind of just left that with the village headman to sort out. He hasn't been able to organize anything yet. I think because people either don't have space or they feel they don't have time to look after a clueless stranger. So I'm hopeful that after I've been here a little while and sort of made my presence known to people and got to know a few villagers, maybe somebody will let me stay. I don't know. Otherwise, I'll just crash at the school indefinitely, which, you know, depending on how that ends up, my project just may end up taking a slightly different focus, so that's fine. So due to the fact that I'm staying at the school has been the biggest focus so far with the project. So in my thesis proposal review that I talked about previously, I outlined a number of realms within my field site that I would be working in and looking at. I think there were school, village, church, fields, forest, and maybe like in the town. So out of all those, I'd say 90% of my focus so far has just been the school. The school has, though, presented me with a few good opportunities to talk about my project to a large group of people at the same time, which is a good thing, I think, for the beginning of my project, just so everybody's on the same page with why I'm here and what I'm doing. So I spoke at 2 separate morning assemblies at the beginning of the school year. And I just the other day got to speak to a bunch of the parents as well who came to the school for a meeting about the school year to come and changes at the school and that sort of thing. So I got to get up there and sit next to the director of the school and introduce myself, explain what I'm doing, what I'm interested in, make sure everybody's okay, you know, come to me with questions if you have any, that sort of thing. So I think that's a good opportunity that I could only really get in the school environment. Of course, the drawback to starting off in the school, although possibly inevitable given my previous experience here, is that I have been very firmly emplaced as a teacher rather than a researcher or a student or a friend or any of those other categories that would make it easier for me to get in with the kids in the way that I kind of outlined theoretically in my proposal for the project. I don't think that's insurmountable, though. I think even though I'm a teacher and they call me the word for teacher here, I'm not the same as the other teachers. I'm in this weird sort of ambiguous space, and it's proving interesting to deal with, especially with some of the kids that I am sort of breaking through that barrier with a little more, some of the younger kids especially. It presents interesting scenarios when the other teachers kind of witness that, and they'll actively reprimand the kids for treating me in the way that I want them to treat me, telling them that they should apologize for doing things that they do with their friends all the time and it's totally fine, but that they shouldn't be doing with a teacher. So, you know, that in itself is interesting data, I suppose. The other thing this placement at the school has done for me, though, is it seems to be shifting my research orientation towards education, more so than other elements of the culture of the children's lives, which again may have inevitably happened anyway, especially though the director of the school has expressed his desire for my project to directly have benefits for the school, which is great because it means he really supports me being here, and he's very keen to have me in observing the classes and helping teach the kids and hanging around and, you know, being a burden, which is what I feel like sometimes. But yeah, he's really values the perspective that I bring to the table, but he really wants my input on improving teaching skill of the staff here, improving student outcomes, improving confidence of the students to speak up in class, that sort of thing. So a lot of the issues inherent to the Thai education system he's very aware of and really wants my help to come up with suggestions for how to improve. They did put me on the spot and made me do a presentation after like my first week here, which was extremely premature if you ask me. So I just kind of winged it and promised to have more concrete suggestions after a year. But I do worry that maybe that will restrict the focus of my project too much, so if I get too bogged down in just the education stuff. So that's one potential concern. It is nice to have clear focus though, and something quickly guiding production of very solid research questions, which have been kind of vague up until this point in my preparations for coming here. They are becoming more concrete every day, so that's good. Now, while this is quite a small school in terms of number of students, there are still 9 separate year levels, 10 or 11 if you include kindergarten with that, which I'm not sure if I will yet. We'll see. So there is the issue of how do I decide what kids I get to know, what kids I follow. I have kind of thought a few different ways of doing that, deciding where my priorities should lie. What I've kind of settled on so far though is just to follow the rapport. So whatever age groups I click with best, whatever groups of kids actually take to me well, I'm going to kind of pursue that, at least for the first part of my research. If I later identify segments of the population that I'm sort of missing a lot of information on, then I'll maybe direct my efforts more carefully. But for now, I think follow the rapport is kind of my mantra that I'm just following. And I feel like rapport is kind of what I've been doing for these first 3 weeks. I worry that I haven't been collecting enough sort of like quantifiable information about things. I haven't been collecting many stats besides just like number of kids in each class. I haven't really been sitting down doing any interviews or anything like that. I've just been hanging around, not even necessarily talking too much, just kind of being there and getting people used to me being around and just playing games with the kids and just getting to know people really, which is of course an important part of any ethnographic project. But I don't know, I feel like I don't trust myself to move out of that phase though. I worry I'm just going to linger doing that for too long. I worry about when is the appropriate time that I have to shift to, okay, I need to actually ask some more specific questions about things that my research is going to address. I haven't really quite figured out that transition yet. I did try in the first few days to carry out sort of a classroom census. I went around one of the year 7 class, Mathiom 1, they call it here. And I was like, take a photo of the student, write down their name, their surname, write down their religion, write down what village they're from, and sort of going through methodically the class like that. I got about halfway through the class, and then the teacher came in and I had to stop, take a break, and then I didn't really pick it up after that because it felt really awkward and weird. And I don't know, just like, it seems weird. Initially, I thought when you first arrive in the field is probably a really good time to do a survey or a census type activity because you don't have the rapport to get, that secret deep layers of information that ethnography is great for. So, but what you can get is boring statistical information. But I kind of underestimated just how awkward that kind of encounter is. Like when you just met somebody and you're in their face just going, okay, what's your name? How many brothers and sisters do you have? What is your religion? Like taking down all this information is it's kind of intimidating for people, I think. And it's intimidating for me to do that. So I just kind of felt a bit uncomfortable and stepped back and went back into just hanging around mode. So obviously I need to get information like that, but I think I'm going to try and get it a bit later on. In terms of awkwardness though, I'd say it's not like a constant thing. I'm not arriving in the field and then instantly it being really smooth and mingling well with everyone, but nor am I arriving here and just being completely useless and awkward the whole time. I think maybe some people might expect it to be one or the other, but like sometimes it'll be like, for this hour, I feel like I'm a really, really great field worker, and I'm talking to the kids, and we're broaching like more serious topics than just like what are you doing kind of talk. I've had talks with some of the kids about relationships and what they want in their future and what some of the issues are in the village, that sort of thing. That does come up just organically sometimes. And on those occasions, I feel amazing. I'm like, wow, this is what I'm here for. This is really great. But then like the very next hour, I'll just be like the weird guy standing in the corner while everybody else is chatting away happily. And I'm either being ignored, or I feel like people are laughing at me, or I'm just feel like I'm wasting my time and not doing anything. So those two kinds of experiences go side to side every day.